To the Reserve Bank now. Yeah, we'll learn today whether the Reserve Bank will indeed cut the cash rate when it hands down its decision at 2:30. Widely tipped that this is going to be the case. Almost 100% of economists are tipping this rate cut to happen today.
Yeah, Leith Van Onselen is the chief economist with MB Fund. Leith, what will we see today, do you think?
Oh, look, yeah. Hello, thanks for having me on. I think we're definitely going to see a rate cut. So 95% of, financial market participants, so that's the futures market, which puts financial bets on these sorts of things, believes that the Reserve Bank's going to cut. The bigger question is what's going to happen going forward. So most, the financial markets and economists tip 3 rate cuts this year, 3 more rate cuts. So, one obviously today and then 2 more before the end of the year. Now, that's actually down a little bit because after Trump introduced his Inauguration Day tariffs, financial markets are actually tipping 5 rate cuts because we obviously saw financial markets, fall pretty hard. There was a lot of uncertainty, that sort of thing. But since President Trump sort of wound back his tariffs a little bit and he's, started being a little bit more sensible, the financial markets and economists have actually pared back their rate cut calls, but they're still expecting 3 rate cuts this year, 1 today and 2 more.
Well, there was one of the big banks, I think NAB, who was suggesting there might be a supersized cut today of 0.5%. Do you subscribe to that at all, Leith?
No, absolutely not. Look, so NAB was definitely the outlier there. So NAB were tipping end of year cash rate of about 2.85%, which would mean we get sort of 5 rate cuts, which is basically what financial markets were tipping, about a month ago. Yeah. And then further cuts next year, but they are the outlier. I think 3 is more likely, but I will say this: you never know. President Trump could go out and do something stupid tomorrow, and we could be having a completely different conversation.
Yeah, well, he has a bit of influence, doesn't he, over things?
So don't listen back to this conversation. It's current now and now alone. Leith Van Onselen is with you, chief economist with MB Fund. So mortgage holders, obviously a bit of relief if the cash rate comes down. You'd hope that your bank follows suit. The wider economic impacts of a rate cut, what else does it mean for us, Leith?
Yeah, so if you're someone who cares about, the cost of housing and you don't want house prices to keep going up, and I'm sort of in that boat because I've got 2 teenage kids, it's not great. So obviously if we get 3 rate cuts this year, we're going to have a lot more demand for housing, more mortgage demand, and that'll push up house prices. On top of that, Labor's 5% deposit scheme for first home buyers will come in the 1st of January next year, and that will also put more upward pressure on home prices. So I think, unfortunately, if you're like me, you don't want to see home prices continue to rise because you've got kids who need housing in the future. It's not great news. More broadly, it should encourage a bit more spending from consumers, that sort of thing. Because if you're spending less on your mortgage, you've got more money to spend elsewhere, and a little bit more confidence. But those are the broad, sort of impacts.
Yeah, the self-funded retirees obviously won't be very happy.
No, they certainly tend to be worse off when you get a rate cut, obviously, because they get less interest on their savings.
Leith, yeah, we're talking about housing affordability, and you think, the cut in rates increases borrowing power, effectively keeps driving house prices to go up. Does the RBA, is the RBA looking at housing affordability in their decision making?
Only at the margin. So their key concern is obviously inflation in the overall economy. So they will have a little bit of a side look at it, but that won't be central in their thinking. The fact that the reality is that the inflation rate's within their target now, the underlying inflation rate, which is the one they look at, and unemployment and wage growth, etc., all tracking as they expected. So that, and obviously with the overseas global uncertainty with all the tariffs, even though it has come down a lot, that should prompt them to cut.
Well, all to be revealed by the Reserve Bank. 2:30 is when the official announcement happens, but it feels like it's a near certainty that we'll see a 0.25% cut in the official cash rate. Leith, thanks for chatting this morning.
Yeah, no problem.
Chief Economist with MB Fund, Leith Van Onselen. Better check the roads.